Hey, welcome back to my channel. I was asked this question, that's why I figured I'd do a video on it. The question was, how did I improve myself? How to improve oneself? And I thought, well, that's a phenomenal question when it was asked of me, and I figured I would answer it out here in a way for you to get to know my story somewhat, and just if you have that question for yourself, how to improve yourself. For me, improving myself means I had to get to know myself. Get to know myself, what really matters, what's really important to me. And it took something, I guess, big, something definitely big to happen, where I felt like the rug was pulled out from under me, yanked out from under me, as I went through a divorce. And going through that, I ended up with my children, my 3 children, and learning to manage life as a single parent, as a solo parent, I like to call it. And I just thought, what am I going to do? How will I maneuver things? I know I needed to find out what's important to me at that time. I learned, okay, Alberta, what is important to you? For a while, I was in an unhappy marriage, and for a while, I coexisted and, lived and kind of went through the motion. And when the divorce occurred, I realized that I needed to learn who I am, find me again, because I had 3 children that was looking to me to support them, to help them, to show up for them. And I had to go in and find out what matters so I can come out and be the very best version of myself, if that makes sense to you. So it was a dark time. It was a scary time. It was a time of uncertainty. When I have a little guy, and he was a couple months old when that happened. There was infidelity, unfortunately, in my marriage, and that's what happened. It wasn't on my part, but that's one of the big things that led to the divorce. And at that time, I'm telling you, I was fearful. I didn't know me. I was at a place of disparity. I felt alone. I felt shamed. I lost my identity, because a lot of my identity I put into that marriage and all of that. And I just felt, what was I going to do? What was I going to do? What would come out of my life? And I had my moments. I shed my tears, got concerned, got the fear of the uncertainty. And I reached in and I was like, God, help me. God, help me. I need help. I don't know how to maneuver this. That's not what I signed up for. But that's where I'm at. And I have people that needs me, sustain me, strengthen me, help me. Guys, it got ugly. I'm not even gonna sit here and tell you it was just, a conversation. It was tears and frustration and woe is me. Why is this happening to me? A lot of things. I felt powerless. And I hated that feeling. I hated to feel like I had no control. Where was my life going? What was happening? So I did what I knew I needed to do. I knew I needed to better myself. I was fortunate enough to be able to go back to school. I took the bull by the horn and I said, I'm going to run with it. I need to increase my cash flow. I need to better myself. I need to get more educated. And I dug deep. And I did that, and that was great. It allowed me to sustain my family and the rat race and going, which I'm getting myself out of. But that's where that led me to a lot of concerns and me digging deep to say, okay, I need to improve myself. I need to improve my life. So I did all of that because I wanted to provide for my children. I wanted to keep a roof over their heads. I wanted to put food on the table and clothing. I improved the outer appearance, if you're following me, but I didn't improve the inner. Years later, I had to go into the inner part because I realized there were bits and pieces of me that was still shattered, that was still scared, that had but couldn't make sense of what I had to move myself forward. There was a lot of back and forth. I would take one step forwards, 2 steps back. Mentally, I didn't have the understanding, the knowledge of who I was, how to really improve from the inside out. So I got some mentors, did a lot of work, did a lot of reading. I dug myself into books and studied and prayed. God, give me clarity. The more I prayed, the more I sought for understanding, the more things become clearer. The more I would reach out to someone, I would hear someone's story and reach out to them. And people were generous, very generous, and they would reply to me. I joined some classes. I took some courses about empowering oneself. Self-empowerment became a thing I lived by and dreamed of and continued to play. Jim Rohn was my personal teacher, for lack of better words, because I listened to what that man said and I learned so much, and I knew I had to improve myself. I had to work on me. I had to get to know me again, to what's important to me, what matters to me, not what's just gonna pay for things, but what's gonna bring me inner joy and fulfillment. With that, I learned that I had a voice. I learned I was more than just a solo parent, divorced, or whatever the stigma that puts, and nothing against any of that. That's how I felt. I felt alone a lot, and I realized, and there were times I'd be in a room full of people, but I just felt no one can understand, no one can grasp the deep hurt and the pain and just parenting alone, feeling the brunt of it all, needing to have answers for 3 people and no one else have an answer for me. So I had to dig, I had to learn, and I had to grow and realize that to improve myself, to improve my situation, to be self-empowered, I had to be empowered mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. There were a lot of ways that I needed to go in. And I'm telling you, get a mentor. If you can't afford one, find one that's, Les Brown or whomever. Learn, lean in and get whatever it is that you need to get. Because if the mind is not on point, if the mind is not ready, then you become a victim of circumstances. You become a woe is me. I learned to change the way that I communicate. There's no I can't in my world. That's not what I'm doing right now. I can do this. I will do it. I can do anything. I'm empowered. I have God within me. So I am empowered, and I'm believing those things. I'm not just saying them at church on Sundays. I'm believing them, and I'm living that, and I'm striving to instill that in my children, knowing that all things are possible. I'm not left behind. I'm not forgotten. The time hasn't passed. I am right on time. So the way that I speak to myself and the things that I say to myself, I strive to empower myself every day. The minute that I hear and I can't, I'm like, no, I can do this. I will do it. What can I create? I'm in a space of creating endless possibilities. Endless possibilities. because I know any and everything is possible. So that's the place where I'm coming from. So how to improve yourself, how to improve your life, I really think it stems from your thought process. How do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about what's happened in your life? Things didn't happen to me. Things happened for the embetterment of my life, including my divorce, including all that's happened. It has allowed me to go in, know me, and be the best version of myself. And I'm continuing to evolve. My life is going on. So improving oneself, it's not an arrival place. I am nowhere near the arrival. There's no arriving. I don't ever want to arrive. I want to keep growing. And I encourage you, be in a journey of growth and development. Get to know yourself. That's why I preach that, because I've had to learn it. And once you know who you are, you already know whose you are. Once you know who you are, then you look at things differently. You respond differently. And that's what stems this channel. You know, your motivational bestie. I'm motivated more than ever to bring out the best of myself and others around me. Because sometimes we forget. We forget the goodness that lives in us, the empowerment that we have within to do any and everything. And if anything, if I can ever remind you of that, I will take that opportunity. I'll jump on that opportunity to remind you. So thank you. Thank you for listening. For those of you who has found value in the things that I say, please keep tuning in. I love to continue this dialogue with you as we grow and thrive and learn new ways to truly improve ourselves and really stand in a place of self-empowerment as God intended for us to live. Be blessed. Bye-bye.